Amelia stood at the edge of the vast ice field, her breath creating clouds in the frigid air of Kepler-4. Her expedition suit the only thing keeping her from freezing in the -60 temperatures. The terrain scanner in her hand beeped quietly, showing nothing but solid ice for kilometers in every direction. But Amelia knew better. She had heard something. 3 days into her solo geological survey mission on this supposedly uninhabited planet, Amelia had begun noticing strange readings. Tiny vibrations that came and went like whispers in the wind. At first she dismissed them as equipment malfunction or perhaps minor seismic activity. But then she heard a sound that could not possibly be explained by natural phenomena. A whimper. Now, she stood motionless, listening with every fiber of her being. The wind howled across the barren landscape, drowning out most sounds. But there it was again. A faint cry coming from beneath the ice. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Amelia activated her comm unit. "Kathy, do you read me?" She waited for a response from the orbital station but received only static. The ice field was notorious for communication interference, another reason why these surveys were usually conducted by drones rather than humans. But Amelia had insisted humans notice things machines did not. Her current situation proved her right. Without hesitation, Amelia dropped to her knees and began clearing snow from the surface of the ice. The cold bit at her face where it was exposed, but she ignored the discomfort. The scanner indicated the ice was thinner here, only about 2 meters thick. She pulled the thermal drill from her pack and activated it. The drill hummed to life, cutting through the frozen surface with surprising efficiency. Amelia worked methodically, widening the hole bit by bit. Sweat formed under her thermal suit, despite the freezing temperatures. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could this be a new life form unknown to human science? Or perhaps some natural phenomenon that merely sounded like a living creature? After an hour of drilling, Amelia had created a hole nearly a meter wide. The whimpering sound grew clearer with each layer of ice removed. She was certain, now it was a living being in distress. The thought of an intelligent species trapped beneath the ice filled her with determination. She would not leave whatever it was to suffer. Amelia checked her oxygen levels and equipment. Her suit could sustain her for another 8 hours before she needed to return to base camp. The thermal drill had enough power for several more hours of use. She was well prepared for whatever lay ahead. Or so she thought. 3 hours later, her arms aching and her fingers numb despite the heated gloves, Amelia broke through the final layer of ice. A rush of warmer air escaped from below, carrying with it that same sound, much clearer. Now definitely not human, but undeniably alive and in distress. She widened the hole, using the drill until it was large enough for her to pass through. She secured a tether to an ice anchor and slowly lowered herself into the darkness. Her headlamp illuminated a vast cavern below walls, shimmering with an iridescent blue mineral, unseen on the surface. The temperature here was remarkably warmer, hovering just above freezing. Amelia unzipped her outer thermal layer as she reached the ground and stood in awe of her surroundings. The cavern stretched farther than her light could, reach ceiling at least 20 meters high. Columns of ice and strange crystal formations rose from floor to ceiling, creating a natural cathedral of breathtaking beauty. But what caught her attention most was the soft blue glow emanating from deeper within the cave system. It pulsed with life unlike anything she had seen before. The whimpering grew louder coming from deeper within the cavern. Amelia checked her oxygen levels and pressed forward. The tunnel narrowed as she walked, forcing her to hunch over. The walls seemed to pulse with a faint bioluminescence, providing just enough light to see without her lamp. She switched it off to conserve power as she ventured deeper. Amelia noticed patterns in the tunnel walls too regular to be natural. These were not formed by water or ice, but carved deliberately by intelligent hands or tools. The realization sent shivers down her spine. She was not simply exploring a cave, but entering the domain of an unknown species. After what seemed like hours of careful navigation through the winding tunnels, the passage suddenly opened into a chamber, twice the size of the first. The floor was smooth, almost polished, and in the center lay the source of the cries. The creature was unlike anything Amelia had ever seen or studied in xenobiology. Its body resembled a cross between a mantis and a deer, with 6 slender limbs and a graceful, elongated neck. Its skin glowed with the same bioluminescence as the cavern walls. But what struck Amelia most were its eyes, large, almond-shaped and filled with unmistakable intelligence and pain. One of its limbs was trapped beneath a fallen column of ice. Amelia froze as the creature noticed her. Its cries stopped, immediately replaced by a defensive posture, despite its trapped limb. The universal translator at her hip was silent, indicating it could not detect language patterns, but communication did not always require words. Amelia slowly removed her gloves and showed her empty hands, then gestured toward the trapped limb, mimicking a lifting motion. The creature watched her warily but made no move to attack. Its large eyes blinked rapidly in what Amelia interpreted as confusion or curiosity. The trapped limb appeared badly injured, crushed beneath the weight of the fallen ice column. Amelia knew she had to act quickly. She approached slowly, making sure each movement was deliberate and non-threatening. When she reached the fallen column, she examined it carefully. It was too heavy for her to lift alone, but perhaps she could melt it enough with her thermal tools to free the creature. Amelia reached into her pack and removed the thermal cutter. The creature flinched at the sight of the device, its free limbs moving in what might have been alarm. Amelia paused, demonstrating how the tool worked by melting a small piece of ice nearby. The creature seemed to understand, watching intently as she worked. With great care, Amelia began melting the ice around the trapped limb. The creature remained perfectly still, its eyes never leaving her hands. Minutes passed in tense silence, the only sound the quiet hum of the thermal cutter and the occasional drip of melting ice. Suddenly a new sound echoed through the chamber, a series of musical trills and whistles. The trapped creature responded with similar sounds, though weaker. Amelia looked up to see 3 more beings identical to the first entering the chamber. Their bodies glowed brighter than the injured one, and they moved with graceful precision. Amelia stood slowly, raising her empty hands to show she meant no harm. The newcomers surrounded the injured one, their limbs moving in complex patterns. She realized they were communicating, though her translator remained silent. One of them, a slightly larger individual with a deeper blue glow, approached Amelia. They stood face to face, human and alien, separated by countless evolutionary paths, yet joined in this moment by something universal: compassion. The alien extended one delicate limb toward Amelia, not in threat, but in what appeared to be greeting. Instinctively, she reached out her own hand. Their limbs touched, and Amelia gasped as a flood of images rushed into her mind. Scenes of a civilization living beneath the ice. Their history, their struggles, their fear of the surface, and the beings who occasionally landed there. Amelia understood. They were a refugee species hiding from something that had destroyed their original world. The mental connection broke, leaving Amelia breathless. The creatures regarded her with newfound interest. The largest one produced a small crystalline object from a pouch Amelia hadn't noticed before and offered it to her. The crystal pulsed with energy, and as Amelia hesitantly accepted it, the universal translator at her hip suddenly activated. "We are the Lurani." The voice was feminine, musical. The translator struggled to keep up with the unfamiliar language. "You are not like the others who come to our world." Amelia swallowed hard, trying to process this development. "Inhuman from Earth. We didn't know anyone lived here. The others come to take, not to give," the Lurani explained. "You come alone, you help without being asked. Such behavior is unknown among the harvesters." "The harvesters," Amelia repeated. The name sent another chill through her. "They destroyed our homeworld when we refused to surrender. Our knowledge," the Lurani continued. "They hunt us across the stars, we hide, we survive. We thought all surface dwellers were allies of theirs until now." While they spoke, the other Lurani worked to free their injured companion, using tools that seemed to grow from their own limbs. The ice melted away much faster than Amelia's thermal cutter could manage. Soon the injured one was free, its damaged limb cradled gently by its companions. Amelia realized the implications of this encounter were enormous. The presence of another hostile spacefaring species was information Earth desperately needed. The fact that these refugees had technology advanced enough for telepathic communication and interstellar travel meant they could be powerful allies. Have a colony and orbital station. Amelia explained. We are explorers, scientists, we mean no harm. The Lurani communicated among themselves, their trilling taking on an urgent quality. Finally, the spokesperson turned back to Amelia. The crystal you hold contains our history, our knowledge. It is our gift to you for your kindness, but you must promise to keep our presence secret from all but your most trusted leaders. The harvesters have spies everywhere. Amelia clutched the crystal, feeling its warmth. I promise, but my people could help protect you. Perhaps the Lurani acknowledged, but trust must grow slowly like the ice crystals above. We have hidden for generations. One human alone cannot change our ways. The injured Lurani approached Amelia walking, with a slight limp. Its limb had been treated with some kind of glowing gel that seemed to be repairing the damage before her eyes. It reached out, touching her forehead more gently this time. The mental connection reformed, but instead of images, Amelia felt emotions, gratitude, hope, curiosity, and beneath it all, fear not of her but for her. They will come, the thought formed in her mind. They always do. When they do, remember us. The connection broke, and Amelia knew it was time to leave the Lurani, led her through different tunnels than those she had entered through. Eventually, they reached a chamber with a shaft leading upward, much closer to her base camp than her original entry point. The leader spoke one final time. Tell your kind, we wish. No conflict, but we will defend ourselves. The crystal will show the truth of the harvesters. When they come, your people must be ready. With that, the Lurani retreated deeper into their hidden world, leaving Amelia alone with the precious crystal and knowledge that would forever change humanity's place in the cosmos. The climb to the surface was easier here, with natural handholds carved into the ice. As she emerged into the bitter cold once more, Amelia saw her base camp just a kilometer away. The storm had passed, leaving the sky clear and star-filled. She activated her emergency beacon and within minutes received Kathy's frantic response. Where have you been? Kathy demanded. You've been off comms for 15 hours. Amelia looked back at the seemingly innocent ice field, hiding an entire civilization beneath its surface, and clutched the crystal in her pocket tightly. I found something, she said simply. Something that changes everything. Back at base camp, Amelia sat across from Kathy, trying to find the words to explain her discovery. The crystal lay between them on the table, glowing softly. Kathy, a veteran xenobiologist with 3 first contact situations under her belt, looked skeptical. You expect me to believe an entire civilization is living under the ice and no one noticed? Kathy said, her voice heavy with doubt. Our orbital scan showed no heat signatures, no energy readings, nothing. They have technology we don't understand? Amelia replied. They can hide their presence. The crystal is proof. Kathy picked up the crystal, examining it carefully. It's interesting, she admitted, but hardly proof of an advanced alien civilization. This could be a natural formation. Amelia shook her head. The Lurani are real. I saw them, I communicated with them. They showed me their memories. She leaned forward. Look at the data from my suit recorder. Kathy accessed the data pad, her eyes widening as she viewed the footage. Most of it was dark or blurry, the camera struggling in the low light of the caverns, but there were unmistakable glimpses of the alien beings, their bioluminescent bodies moving with purpose. The audio captured their musical language. This is, she whispered. This is extraordinary. We need to contact Earth immediately, Amelia said. The information about the harvesters is too important to wait. Kathy nodded slowly, still processing what she had seen. Our next communication window opens in 6 hours, she said. We should prepare a full report. But Amelia, she hesitated, looking troubled. Do you understand what this means for your career? Amelia frowned. What do you mean? First contact protocols dictate that the discoverer must remain in quarantine for 6 months minimum. Kathy explained. You entered an alien environment without proper authorization, made physical contact with an unknown species. Your actions were incredibly risky. Amelia felt a flash of anger. I saved a life, she protested, and discovered a potential ally against a threat we didn't even know existed. Kathy held up her hands. I'm not criticizing your actions, just preparing you for the response from command. This goes beyond our mission parameters, way beyond. Later that night, while Kathy slept, Amelia sat alone in the common room of their small research station. The crystal in her hands glowed brighter now, as if activated by her attention. She thought about the Lorani and their centuries of hiding from the harvesters. She thought about Earth unprepared for a threat it didn't know existed. And she thought about the weight of responsibility now resting on her shoulders. On impulse, she pressed the crystal to her forehead, mimicking the connection the Lorani had established. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly images began to form in her mind. But these were different than before, more structured, more detailed. She saw the Lorani homeworld, a beautiful planet with twin moons and vast oceans. She saw their cities built from the same crystalline material as the one she held. She saw their peaceful existence, their art, their science, their children. She felt their joy, their connection to each other and to the universe. Then came darkness. Ships appeared in orbit, massive vessels that blocked out the suns. Weapons fired, cities burned. People fled. The memory was so vivid Amelia could almost feel the heat of the fires, smell the smoke, hear the screams. The harvesters had come. Amelia pulled the crystal away from her forehead, her hands shaking. She gasped for air as if she'd been running. The visions had been so real, so intense. Sweat beaded on her forehead, despite the station's climate controls. She looked down at the crystal, which now pulsed with a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. She needed to understand more. But first, she had to convince Earth to take this seriously. The next morning, Amelia and Kathy prepared their report for Earth Command. They included all the data from Amelia's suit recorder samples of the Lorani language and detailed descriptions of their appearance and technology. Kathy remained professional, but Amelia could sense her excitement beneath the scientific facade. This was the discovery of a lifetime. When the communication window opened, they transmitted everything except one detail. Amelia kept the crystal and its full capabilities to herself. Something told her to wait, to be cautious. She remembered the Lorani's warning about spies, and their insistence on secrecy. Earth Command's response came 3 days later. Priority 1, return to base immediately. The message read, bring all artifacts and data. Prepare for full debriefing. Do not attempt further contact with the alien species. Kathy looked relieved, but Amelia felt uneasy. The tone of the message was cold, focusing on the artifacts rather than the potential threat the harvesters posed. There was no mention of preparations, no questions about the Lorani themselves, only orders to return. Before they could begin preparations for departure, their scanners detected a new ship entering orbit. It wasn't one of theirs. Kathy checked the transponder code. That's strange, she said. It's registered as a mining vessel. But we have no mining operations authorized in this sector. Amelia's blood ran cold. The crystal in her pocket seemed to pulse faster, warmer. She remembered the Lorani leader's words. They will come. They always do. We need to hide, Amelia said suddenly. Gathering emergency supplies. Kathy stared at her. What are you talking about? That's a human ship, is it? Amelia challenged. The Lorani said the harvesters have spies. What if they're already infiltrating our systems? You're being paranoid, Kathy said. But her voice lacked conviction. The communication system chimed with an incoming message. Amelia hesitated, then accepted the transmission. A man's face appeared on the screen, his features pleasant, but somehow too perfect. His smile never reached his eyes. Research Station, Kepler 4. This is Captain Gordon of the mining vessel Antares. We picked up some unusual readings from your location and are stopping to offer assistance. Do you require any supplies or support? Before Kathy could respond, Amelia cut in. We're fine, thank you. Captain, just routine research. Nothing unusual to report. The captain's smile widened slightly. We detected some anomalous energy signatures from your location. Perhaps your equipment is malfunctioning? We could send a team to help with repairs. No, Amelia said too quickly. We have everything under control. Thank you for your concern. Very well, the captain said after a brief pause. We will remain in orbit for 24 hours. Should you change your mind? The transmission ended. Kathy turned to Amelia with a frown. What's wrong with you? That was incredibly rude. Amelia pulled the crystal from her pocket. It was glowing brightly now, pulsing with urgent energy. The Lorani showed me what the harvesters look like, she said. And that man, that captain, he matches. Their description exactly. You're saying he's an alien. Kathy looked incredulous, but he looks completely human. That's the point. Amelia insisted they can disguise themselves, mimic us. It's how they've infiltrated so many worlds. Kathy shook her head. This is crazy. We can't just assume every stranger is an alien in disguise. The station's proximity alarm suddenly blared. A small craft had launched from the Antares and was heading directly toward them. They're coming, Amelia said, grabbing Kathy's arm. We need to warn the Lorani, but Kathy pulled away. This is insane, she said. We're scientists, not conspiracy theorists. That ship is registered with Earth. Fleet Amelia could see she wouldn't convince Kathy, not without proof. She pressed the crystal into her friend's. Hand, hold this, she said. Just for a minute. Please. Reluctantly, Kathy took the crystal. Her skeptical expression froze, then slowly transformed to one of shock and horror as the crystal's knowledge flowed into her mind. When she looked up, her eyes were wide with understanding. What do we do? She whispered. We go to the Lorani. Amelia said. They survived the harvesters before. They might know how to deal with them. The two women gathered essential supplies and equipment, working quickly as the landing craft drew nearer. The station's sensors showed it would touch down less than a kilometer away. They had minutes at most, dressed in their thermal gear. They slipped out the emergency exit and headed toward the ice field where Amelia had first heard the Whimpers. The wind had picked up, blowing snow across the barren landscape, providing some cover for their escape. Behind them, the research station stood silent, its light still burning a beacon in the darkness. They reached the ice field, and Amelia led them directly to the exit the Lorani had shown her. The opening was still there, a dark hole in the white expanse. They descended quickly, using their suit lights to navigate the shaft. As they reached the bottom, Amelia called out, hoping the Lorani would hear. For long minutes there was no response. Then from the shadows a soft glow approached. 3 Lorani emerged, their bodies pulsing with bioluminescence. The leader recognized Amelia and stepped forward. You have returned sooner than expected. The translator conveyed the musical language. And you bring another. The harvesters are here, Amelia said without preamble. They came in a human ship. The Lorani leader showed no surprise. We knew they would come. They always do. But you were quicker than we anticipated. This is good. Perhaps there is still time. For what Kathy asked, to prepare, the leader replied. To fight. The Lorani led them deeper into the cave system through tunnels Amelia hadn't seen before. They descended for what seemed like hours, the temperature gradually warming, the bioluminescence of the walls growing brighter. Finally, they emerged into a vast cavern larger than any Amelia had seen before. It was a city. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of Lorani moved through. The space living in structures carved from ice and crystal waterways flowed between buildings, creating a network of canals. Children played in open areas, their small bodies glowing brighter than the adults. Technology unlike anything Amelia had seen, integrated seamlessly with the natural environment. Nothing wasted, nothing polluted. The humans stood in awe, taking in the hidden civilization. This is incredible, Kathy whispered. The scanner readings never showed any of this. Our shields protect us, the leader explained. We have had millennia to perfect the art of hiding, but hiding is no longer enough. The harvesters grow more persistent, more numerous. Their need for resources drives them to search even dead worlds like the surface above. What do they want exactly? Amelia asked. Everything, the leader said simply. They consume, they take. They leave nothing. They believe it is their right as the superior species. They harvested our world first. The leader continued, then showed us their true form. They are not like you or us. They are something else, something ancient and hungry. They wear the bodies of those they conquer like garments, using the knowledge they steal to find new worlds, new civilizations. Kathy clutched the crystal still in her hand. They showed me their ships, their weapons, she said to Amelia. They have technology centuries beyond ours. The Lurani leader nodded. We fought. We lost our knowledge of crystal technology was what they wanted most. It allows them to disguise themselves, perfectly to pass undetected among other species. How do we stop them? Amelia asked. The leader gestured for them to follow. They approached a structure in the center of the city, a massive crystal formation that pulsed with energy. This is our hope, the leader explained. It is a communication device powerful enough to reach across stars. We have spent generations building it in secret. With this, we can contact others who fight the harvesters. There is a resistance and alliance of species who have managed to evade capture, but we need more power, more crystals to activate it. Fully. Amelia thought of the crystal she had given Kathy. Could that help? The leader trilled softly in what might have been laughter. The small crystal I gave you is but a seed, a fragment. It cannot power this. But there are others hidden throughout this world. We need them all. How do we find them? Kathy asked. The leader touched the crystal in her hand. It knows it can lead you, but you must hurry. The harvesters will begin their search soon. They will find your abandoned station and know you have discovered us. Before they could discuss further, an alarm sounded. Throughout the city, a series of musical tones that sent the Lurani into immediate action. They moved with practiced precision, gathering children, directing them deeper into the cave system. They have landed on the surface, the leader explained. Our sensors detect their energy weapons. They are scanning for our shields. How long do we have? Amelia asked. Hours, perhaps less, the leader replied. They are efficient. The leader summoned 6 Lurani warriors, their bodies larger than the others. Their coloration, a deeper blue. They will accompany you to find the crystals, she explained. Each knows the location of one. But together you must find them all, and return here before the harvesters discover our city. Kathy looked uncertain. We're not soldiers, she said. We're scientists. The leader fixed her with those large, expressive eyes. Scientists who care. That makes you more valuable than soldiers. The harvesters understand war, but they do not understand compassion. That is their weakness and our strength. Amelia felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders, but also a surge of determination. These peaceful beings had survived. Genocide had rebuilt their civilization, had kept hope alive. She would not let them down. The small expedition group prepared quickly. Amelia and Kathy were given new gear-light crystal-based armor that fit over their thermal suits and weapons that looked like extensions of the crystals themselves. These will stun, not kill, the leader explained. We do not take life unnecessarily, even our enemies, especially our enemies. The 6 locations were spread throughout the ice world, some near the surface, others deep within the planetary crust. The closest was beneath a mountain range 30 kilometers from the human research station. The farthest was on the opposite side of the planet beneath the frozen ocean. We will split into teams, the leader decided. 1 human, 1 Lurani per team. This will maximize our chances. Amelia was paired with a warrior named Ella, her body markings more intricate than the others, signifying experience and rank. Kathy would go with Sora, a younger warrior, but skilled in crystal technology. The remaining teams consisted of 2 Lurani each. They will be looking for unusual energy. Signatures, Ella explained to Amelia as they prepared to leave. We must move quickly but cautiously. Stay beneath the ice as much as possible. The teams departed using a network of tunnels that spread like veins throughout the planet. Amelia was amazed at the extent of the Lurani civilization. They had truly made this ice world their home, transforming its frozen interior into a haven. Ella led her through passages that gradually narrowed, forcing them to crawl in some sections. The temperature fluctuated, wildly from near freezing to surprisingly warm where thermal vents from the planet's core provided heat. After hours of travel, they reached a vertical shaft that led toward the surface. "We must ascend here," Ayla said. "The crystal chamber is near the mountain's core, protected by natural formations that block scans." They climbed for what seemed like eternity, Amelia's muscles burning with exertion. Finally, they emerged into a cathedral-like space where massive crystal formations hung from the ceiling. Like chandeliers, in the center on a pedestal of black stone sat a crystal the size of Amelia's head. It pulsed with blue-white light. There Ayla pointed. "It has waited for us," as they approached. Amelia felt a humming sensation in her chest. The crystal recognized them somehow. She reached out her hand, hovering just above its surface. "Be careful," Ayla warned. "It contains much energy. A connection can be overwhelming." Amelia nodded and gently placed her hand on the crystal. The effect was immediate. A surge of power rushed through her body, images flooding her mind faster than she could process them. She saw the Lorani homeworld again, but also other worlds, dozens of them, all with their own unique civilizations and species. She saw the harvesters moving between stars, their massive ships consuming everything in their path. And she saw Earth beautiful, vulnerable. Earth with tremendous effort. Amelia broke the connection, gasping for breath. The crystal seemed to have grown brighter, more active. Ayla quickly produced a containment device, a sphere that opened like a flower to enclose the crystal one. "Found 5 remain," Ayla said simply. "Let us hope the others are as successful." They began their journey back, following a different route to avoid detection. The Lorani had mapped every tunnel, every passage, creating a 3-dimensional maze that only they could navigate efficiently. Amelia marveled at their adaptation to this harsh environment. As they traveled, Ayla shared more about her people. They had been scientists and artists, once creators of beauty and knowledge. Then the harvesters came. Those who escaped had hidden for generations, first in asteroid belts, then on forgotten moons, and finally here on this ice world deemed too hostile for habitation by most species. "We adapted," Ayla explained. "We changed ourselves to survive in cold and darkness. We learned to use the crystals to hide our heat, our energy, our very existence. But always we remembered who we were, what we lost." Amelia thought about humanity. So young in galactic terms, so unprepared for the threat that lurked among the stars. What chance did they have against an enemy that had conquered countless worlds? "You are stronger than you know," Ayla said, as if reading her thoughts. "Your species has something rare: compassion without weakness, curiosity without greed. These are powerful traits." They were halfway back to the city when their communicators activated with an urgent message from Kathy. "We found our crystal, but we're being pursued," she said, her voice strained with fear. "Harvesters in human form. They have tracking devices." Ayla immediately changed direction, pulling Amelia down a side tunnel that sloped steeply downward. "We must help them," she said. "They cannot be captured." The knowledge they hold. They moved with new urgency through the tunnel system, Ayla leading with confident precision. After 20 minutes of rapid travel, they emerged into a larger passage where they could hear sounds of pursuit. The distinctive whine of energy weapons echoed through the tunnels. There Ayla pointed toward a junction ahead. "We can intercept them." They positioned themselves at the tunnel intersection, weapons ready. Moments later, Kathy and Sora rounded the corner, running at full speed. Behind them, 3 figures in environmental suits followed, their movements too fluid, too perfect to be human. Amelia fired her crystal weapon. The energy burst hit the lead pursuer, sending him sprawling to the ground. The other 2 immediately took cover, returning fire. Crystalline shards exploded from the walls as their weapons hit. "Run," Ayla shouted to Kathy and Sora. "We will hold them." Kathy hesitated, clutching the containment sphere with their crystal. But Sora pulled her onward toward the city. Amelia and Ayla provided covering fire, forcing the harvesters to keep their distance. "One down," Ayla said. 2 remain." but more will come. They retreated slowly, maintaining fire, keeping the tunnel between them and the pursuers. Ayla knew every fork in the path leading the harvesters away from the city and deeper into the labyrinth. Eventually they reached a chamber with multiple exits. Ayla quickly pressed her hand against a crystal formation on the wall, and one of the tunnels collapsed, blocking the path behind them. "That will slow them," she said, "but they will find another way. They always do." They continued their journey toward the city, changing routes frequently to confuse any tracking devices, Ella communicating their position to the other teams. When they finally reached the outskirts of the Lurani city, they found it transformed. The peaceful community had become a fortress. Crystal barriers had been erected at every entrance. Warriors stood guard, their weapons ready. The civilians had been moved to deeper chambers, protected by layers of security. Kathy and Sora had arrived safely with their crystal, and 2 other teams had also returned successful in their missions. Only one team remained missing. The leader met them at the central chamber where the communication device stood. The massive crystal formation now had 4 of the power crystals installed, each pulsing in harmony with the others. "We are so close," she said. 2 more crystals, and we can call for aid." "What about the missing team?" Amelia asked. "No communication," the leader replied grimly. "We must assume they were captured." Or worse, as if summoned by her words, an alarm sounded throughout the city. The harsh tones different from before, more urgent, more fearful. "They have found us," the leader said. "The harvesters have penetrated our outer defenses." Amelia and Kathy exchanged looks of determination. "We need to help," Amelia said. "Tell us what to do." The leader directed them to defensive positions. The humans' crystal weapons might be less powerful than those of the Lurani, but they could still help protect the civilians. The remaining team with the 5th crystal had to reach the central chamber, or all would be lost. The sounds of battle echoed through the tunnels. The distinctive whine of the harvester weapons mixed with the musical tones of Lurani defense systems. Amelia and Kathy stood with a group of warriors at a junction, protecting one of the approaches to the civilian shelters. The first harvesters appeared, their human disguises abandoned, revealing their true form: tall, skeletal creatures with translucent skin that shifted colors to match their surroundings. Their eyes were black voids, their limbs too long, too flexible to be natural. They moved like liquid flowing rather than walking. The Lurani warriors fired in unison, their crystal weapons sending bursts of energy toward the invaders. Several harvesters fell, but more came behind them. Their weapons carved chunks from the walls, melting the ice into steam that filled the tunnel. Amelia fired steadily, aiming for the center mass of the creatures as Ayla had taught her. Beside her, Kathy did the same, their human reflexes surprisingly effective against the alien threat. The Lurani fought with coordinated precision, covering each other, protecting the humans in their midst. Gradually, they were forced to retreat, falling back to secondary positions. The harvesters advanced methodically, sacrificing their front lines without hesitation. The Lurani city would fall. It was only a matter of time. Then a message came through the communication network. The final team had made it. They were approaching from a hidden entrance with the 5th crystal. "We must give them time," the warrior commander said. "We need a diversion, something to draw the harvesters away from their path." Amelia thought quickly. "The harvesters want the crystals," she said. "That much is clear. What if we made them think we were moving the existing crystals to safety?" The commander considered this. They would pursue. Such a prize would be irresistible. They quickly formed a plan. Amelia and Kathy would carry decoy containers, making it appear they were transporting the valuable crystals. They would move away from the central chamber, leading the harvesters on a chase through the tunnels. Meanwhile, the real 5th crystal could be delivered and installed. "It's dangerous," the commander warned. "The harvesters will stop at nothing to capture you if they believe you carry the crystals." "We understand," Amelia said, "but we have to try." The plan was set in motion. Amelia and Kathy, each, took a container identical to those used for the real crystals and made their way to a side tunnel, deliberately allowing themselves to be spotted by harvester scouts. As predicted, the enemy immediately changed focus, pursuing the humans with single-minded determination. Ella and a small team of warriors accompanied them, providing protection as they led the harvesters deeper into the labyrinth. They ran through tunnels, splashed through underground streams, climbed through tight passages, always staying just ahead of their pursuers. Behind them in the city, the final team arrived with the fifth crystal. It was quickly installed in the communication device. The massive formation began to pulse with new energy, its light growing brighter, filling the central chamber with brilliant blue radiance. The leader stood before the device, her limbs extended in a ritual position passed down through generations. She began to sing, her voice rising and falling in complex patterns. The other Lurani joined, creating a chorus that resonated with the crystal's frequencies. The communication began an ancient call for help, sent across the stars to allies long separated but never forgotten. The message contained everything: the location of the ice world, the presence of the harvesters, the threat to Earth and other worlds, the resistance that had formed in secret. Amelia and Kathy, meanwhile, had reached their destination, a dead-end tunnel, with a hidden exit to the surface. Ela and her warriors formed a defensive line as the harvesters closed in. "This is as far as we go," Ela said, opening the hidden exit. "You must return to your people. Warn them, prepare them." "The diversion has served its purpose," Amelia hesitated. "We can't just leave you." "You must," Ela insisted. "The knowledge you carry is too valuable to lose. The crystal you first received contains the weakness of the harvesters. Use it." The harvesters were close now, their weapons' fire intensifying. Ella pushed the humans toward the exit. "Go," she commanded. "We will hold them as long as we can." With heavy hearts, Amelia and Kathy climbed the shaft toward the surface. Behind them, the sounds of battle echoed through the tunnels. The Lurani were sacrificing themselves to give them time to escape. They emerged onto the frozen surface, the bitter cold hitting them like a physical blow. Their research station was visible in the distance, but between them and safety stood the harvester ship, a massive dark form against the ice field. "We can't make it," Kathy said, despair in her voice. Amelia gripped the small crystal, the first one given to her by the Lurani leader. It pulsed warmly in her hand. Then she noticed something, a light in the sky growing brighter. A ship, but not like any she had seen before. The communication had been received. The new ship descended rapidly, positioning itself between the humans and the harvester vessel. Weapons fired energy beams cutting through the darkness. The harvester ship responded, but too late. The newcomer had the advantage on the surface. The ice began to shake. The hidden city below was activating its defenses. Massive crystal formations erupted from beneath the frozen surface, spearing the harvester ship from below. The combined assault was too much. The enemy vessel exploded in a cascade of energy that lit up the night sky. The battle was over, but the war had just begun. The newcomer ship landed nearby. Its design was elegant organic crystal and metal blended seamlessly. A hatch opened, and figures emerged, tall, humanoid but clearly not human. Their skin shimmered with patterns similar to the Lurani, but their bodies were adapted for different environments. Amelia and Kathy stood their ground as the aliens approached. One stepped forward, its features arranging into what might have been a smile. "We received the call," it said in a voice that reminded Amelia of wind through crystal. "We are the Solari allies of the Lurani. We fight the harvesters, as you now do." More ships appeared in the sky, descending toward the ice field. An armada of different designs representing different species, all answering the same call. The ice beneath them shifted as the Lurani city rose to the surface, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. The massive crystal structures glittered. In the light of the alien ships, the Lurani emerged, their leader at the front, approaching the humans and their new allies. "The time of hiding is over," she announced. "We stand together now as we did before. The resistance grows stronger with each world, each species that joins. We will take back what was stolen. We will end the harvest." Amelia looked at the gathering of alien species at the ships that had come to aid them at the Crystal City, now revealed in all its glory. She thought about Earth, still unaware of the cosmic war being waged among the stars. She thought about the journey ahead, the battles to come, the alliances to forge. The human had heard whimpers beneath the ice. She had dug until her hands bled, and in doing so, she had changed. The fate of worlds. The Solari leader extended a hand to Amelia. "Come," he said. "Your people must be warned. Your world prepared. The harvesters know of Earth now. They will not stop until they have taken everything, unless we stand against them." Amelia took his hand, feeling the same connection she had felt with the Lurani, a bridge between species united by a common threat and a common hope. "I will help," she promised. "We will help behind them." The Lurani city continued to rise, crystal spires reaching toward the stars, no longer hidden, no longer afraid. The resistance had found new allies. The tide was turning, and it had all begun with a human who heard whimpers beneath the ice. Kathy stood beside her, looking at the assembled aliens at the ships. "At the city we have so much to learn," she said, "so much to share." "Yes," Amelia agreed, "and so much to fight for."